sleep out of the bearded barley. Night lay beside the green, green grass. Swing, swing, swing the spinning step. You wear those shoes and I will wear that dress. Oh, kiss me.
Vijay, you ready?
Okay, Vishay, we'll first start from the beginning with this 40-hour trip by bus and this defeat on the first round. Is it due to the fatigue or just wrong choice of planning?
No, not at all. I mean, we got here 4 days in advance. It would have been nice to get here 6 days in advance, which was the original plan, but because the organizers agreed to move it by a further day. In fact, there was, I was quite rested. I think this sort of start is a dreadful start, but it can happen at any time, and you can't really start looking for explanations. I think simply when it's a tough match, blunders will happen. It's part of holding your nerves.
What you thought when Topalov played knight f6 in the first game? You thought, okay, it's finished, I start to do certain moves, and what you were thinking about?
Well, I saw that, the whole thing, we had also prepared this line. But it's just, I just mixed up my move order, and then when he went knight f6, I understood probably I'd mixed it up. I still tried to check if maybe this is what I think. But it's just one of those things that happens, and luckily it was over quickly.
When you speak about move orders, it's bishop d7 instead of king f7.
Correct.
Yeah. Then the second game, you come back immediately in the match. How?
Yeah, this was a very pleasant surprise. Of course, you know, when you lose a game and that too like that, then the first thing is to kind of stabilize again and slowly start to play yourself back into form. But and in fact I misplayed the opening in the second game as well. So he was doing fine at some point. But then when he went knight e3, suddenly I got a chance and I was very happy to grab it and equalize the score.
Then the first game you play against the same opening, Catalan. Were you surprised by the choice of Veselin to insist on this opening? Well,
like I said, in general he surprised me with his match strategy because it was different from what I'd expected. Generally Veselin is someone who moves around a lot, but this time he was very consistent. You know, he played his openings and just reworked them and came back again.
What about you? You wanted to play always the same openings?
Well, our opening started to get a bit thin by the end of the match. So for the last couple of black games and so on, we had to improvise a lot. Well, I was very close to a draw, but of course that's simply in the nature of opposite colored bishop endings. It's just in opposite colored bishop endings, you have to see what you're going to do right away. It's no use, you can't just play moves. You have to decide which structure you're going to aim for. And the funny thing is I had gotten the right structure and the right thing, and I simply missed one move at the end. That when I go bishop d3, he plays f5, ef, gf, and now I just have to play h6 check, and his king can never... His king will either go to the 6th and it's badly placed there, or it goes back and again it's badly placed there. The ideal square is g5. And simply I missed this idea with h6 check. And, or of course I'd seen h6 check. It's just I didn't understand that it was so important. And then I just blundered. I mean, I had seen bishop g7, of course, but I still blundered. And then you have to start, and then the game's over. But
how did you feel the same evening after you lost?
Well, you can imagine. But anyway, he'd been putting some pressure on me from game 7 also and game 8. So these things happen. In fact, I was able to bounce back the very next day. But and then I spoiled that. And then game 10 went crazy. And then game 11. So I think in the end, it's just a question of nerves. There's this kind of sword hanging over your head every day, you know. Game 10, game 11, game 12. Okay, if we had drawn today, tie breaks. But otherwise, I know that tomorrow morning one of us will wake up as world champion, and you don't know who. It's an interesting experience. I slept reasonably well. I mean, what can you do? You have to sleep.
Okay. And okay, tell us something about the game of today. You, for the first time, you choose this opening in the match. First of all, why you didn't keep on with Grunfeld?
Well, somehow by the end of the match you just have to play something you're happy with. And I thought I would be happier in surprising him rather than just checking his preparation. So we tried to find something which would surprise him.
At which point of the game today you felt you are taking advantage?
Well, I was very surprised by ef5. I was sure that either he had missed something or I'd missed something. And I couldn't see it. I mean, e4, takes, king h3, rook d4, knight e3. I'd seen queen e8 already when I played bishop a8 or whatever. So I was very surprised that he allowed this. And, but he had simply missed Queen E8. But in general, I think he takes a lot of risks during game. But this kind of risk, I don't know. Game 12, I wouldn't have taken it so easily. Okay, that's part of what makes him a very strong player. But I think today it was just a mistake.
Comparing with the match with Kramnik and Mexico 2007, is it a different feeling? Are you more happy today?
I think you're as happy every time, but obviously this time it's taken, the strain is much greater.
For example, during the rest days, because there were quite a lot, you were making sport, you were having rest or just preparing for the next two games?
No, I went to the gym for a little bit and tried to relax a bit, but still there's so much work to do that you can't relax fully.
So now, what are your plans?
Do nothing for a while. I think at least a month I will do nothing. So.
Okay, congratulations.
Thanks.